Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us. I am Anarita Bashalieva, along with co-host Dr. Victor Fett, Dr. Katerina Shrey, and our program producer, Professor Larry Sherry. We host a weekly discussion panel on Russia's war on Ukraine with guests from Ukraine, military experts, medical personnel, academics, artists, literary figures, and relief workers. Our panel is recorded and circulated nationally and internationally. We appreciate your comments and feedback. Special thanks to Marshall University Libraries and MUIT for making this weekly event possible. If you are joining us live on Teams, please feel free to use the chat to post any question for our guest. A quick greetings to our viewers in Ukraine from Dr. Katerina Shrey.
Цей святочний час вітаємо наших слухачів в Україні з глибоким поклоном. Ми далі свідки вашого страшного терпіння і також вашої великої сили. Дякую вам за вашу участь в нашій тижневій програмі.
Thank you, Katerina. Today's guest will be introduced by Dr. Victor Fett.
Thank you, Nara. It is my pleasure and honor, as always, to welcome back our contributor and friend Anastasia Bard from New Jersey, United States. Anastasia runs an amazing nonprofit Helping Hands for Ukraine. She's connected to many people directly in Ukraine, and we are very honored to record and publicize her activities. Anastasia, please tell us about what's going on. Thank you.
Well, first of all, it's my honor to be invited yet again, and thank you so much. It's been 4.25 years of full-scale war, and when I was thinking about what update can I give, I was thinking about recent reports in the media, Western reporters coming back sometime in February or March, talking about how tired Ukrainians are, how exhausting this war is. And while, of course, there's no other way to kind of acknowledge it, of course, everyone's tired. Because I talk directly to a lot of people there, from the military medics to regular moms who are my ex-friends, ex-school friends, to really relatives. My dad lives in Ukraine. My cousin lives in Ukraine with his family. He is 42 years old and he has a young teenager. And not once did someone tell me we are tired, we are exhausted, even though we have very open relationships. So I'm kind of torn between wanting to believe and acknowledge how exhausting this war is and kind of having that a bit of a defiant feeling on the inside. Well, guess what? It doesn't matter because we will regroup as Ukrainians, whether you're overseas being bombed without electricity or heat, or Ukrainian Americans here. I get exhausted and tired too, and I go to my husband and I say, I can't do it anymore. But then the next day I get up and I do it again. At least I'm not being bombed. So that's my first thing, is that I think we need to acknowledge that no matter how tired and exhausted and stressed out, sometimes physically hurt people are in Ukraine, they really have learned how to take a break, reset, take a vacation if that's possible, and come back with new strength, new projects, new ways of survival and help. And I'm incredibly lucky that I can talk to them and try to help in an effective way. So just two sentences about why and who. Our charity officially is 2 years old in May. We are grassroots volunteers for 4.25 years. I've resisted opening up a charity because I have a job, I'm a mom, I have a lot of other interests, so to speak. I had no desire of getting into nonprofit world, but I also didn't like some other options that we had. So when my husband and I started donating money or collecting humanitarian aid when the full-scale war began, it just did not feel enough or fully accountable, to be quite honest. So that's my own personal opinion. I don't like anything huge. I think small and pointed and fully accountable is always better. And also it lets me sleep at night. And I can write to my dad, hey, we did this, right? So that's my opinion. And after 2 years of doing small, tiny projects through friends, through acquaintances, directly to the people who are affected by the war and doing something about it, meaning doctors or nurses who are working crazy shifts, or people who volunteered to serve in the army, that's who we dealt with. We don't have volunteers. And if we do engage our own friends to help, it's in a very specific and tiny function. I don't even look at them as volunteers. I look at them as my friends doing me a favor. So we really try not to send any money whatsoever to Ukraine so that I can tell Dr. Fett or anyone else, nearby in New Jersey, I know exactly where the money's going. I'm the one spending it. I'm the one saying, where's the photo? And sometimes for accountability purposes, it takes a very long time to get photos. And I sometimes get impatient saying, well, you received that package 2 weeks ago. And then I feel horrible because I find out, a friend had died in action, or someone was wounded and just couldn't take the photos. And then you kind of shut up, bite your tongue, and find a way to move on. But those are infrequent circumstances. And usually we get a lot of pictures and accountability, which is why I wanted to share them with you. And as I share the pictures, I'll tell small stories about who people are, we help them, and so on. So I hope you can see a photograph of a woman with a newborn baby on the picture. And if you can't, maybe someone can speak up and tell me. But this is a photograph of a young mom who just gave birth in Kharkiv, Ukraine, where we have a lady that we trust to whom we send humanitarian aid. Now, this woman is a doctor herself. She's delivered my friend's baby, and my friend is in the army as a volunteer right now. I mean, signed up now, but joined as a volunteer. So basically, you go through friends to say, who do you trust? We want to help a maternity ward. So the lady, the doctor, I talked to her directly, and she gives us permission to post these photographs, to share them widely. And the supplies you see online, those are free supplies dropped off in our New Jersey garage that we find people we trust in Ukraine, and that's who we ship to. So I don't ship to maternity hospital number blah, blah. I ship to Dr. Inna Dobrunova, whom I trust, and it's about 1 or 2 package per month, so it's not a huge amount anyway, and she shares and brings us pictures. Now, this lady, her name is Alisa. Again, I have permission. Every face you will see, I have permission to post them and share them. She works for special ops, but in the administrative capacity. Their storage unit had burned down. And, the best part of humanitarian aid work is when they tell you, we don't need anything right now, because then you know that these people, A, can be trusted, and B, you've helped them enough. So they're okay. So she wasn't in touch for a few months. Every once in a while, I would check in. Anything you need, let me know. We always send medical kits and tourniquets. And she's been saying, no, we're good. No, we're good. And then, unfortunately, their supplies burned down because of an attack. And she said, now we need things. We need to replace a lot of it. So this was a package that we sent March 19th, if you can see on the paper. She has received it very late March, and I just received the photograph. So it's a real joy to know that your help is getting there quickly, and it is quite focused. This lady's name is Yana. And we're friends on Facebook right now. So I know a lot about her, and it's really an amazing story. She grew up in a very religious, closed community that she, again, shares all of this on her own social page. So it's a widely known information. Like, think of it as Amish in a way. No electronics, very proper outfits, and a lot of restrictions, religious and social and otherwise. And at some point, she kind of rebelled and left and found a new way to live, and eventually volunteered, and now she's a medic. So that's one of the newer people that we help, that she has received already 2 packages. We do ask for the photographs, and obviously they send us the photographs as well. This is the first photograph of a hospital we just started helping in Kyiv. Kyiv is the capital of Ukraine. This is where I was born. And I've been resisting helping Kyiv because it's a large city. and they usually get the first dibs on aid or anything else whatsoever. But because, first of all, we've been so effective in gathering supplies, we have a little extra to share, and I try not to overwhelm any hospital with too much help. And also, this doctor is a friend of a friend. So a surgeon, an army surgeon that I know very well, has reached out and said, a friend of mine needs help. They treat a lot of wounded and they're down in supplies. They need adult diapers. I said, okay, if you trust him, if you know that this is going to go into the right hands, give me the contact or give him my number. Let's see what happens. So this gentleman on the picture, his name is Dmitro. We sent one package of adult diapers. They were just received, and I really want to get to know them. I think it's so important that they also know me, that I'm not this, huge company. I'm one person with a lot of friends and some volunteers, and I'm a history teacher, and I'm a yoga teacher, and I'm a mom, and I care. And that's the best part. So I say, hey, I lived in Kyiv for the first 14 years. I went to school number 32. And he says, guess what? In a text message, two of my sons went to the same school. So I followed up saying, this was my teacher. That was my teacher. I wonder if they're still around. But at the same time, these are the personal connections you make when it's a small charity, and I'm so grateful for that. It makes a big difference. I'm going to play the video here. It's only about 15 seconds because one of the gentlemen on the video says thank you in English, and I think it's super nice sometimes to hear.
Stay with Ukraine.
So let's see if you guys can hear. I hope the audio is loud enough, but this is one of the teams that just received medical kits, some warm clothes. You can see anti-flu, anti-cold kind of medication.
Висловлюємо велику вдячність Анастасії та її друзям із Нью-Джерсі за допомогу українським воїнам у боротьбі за свободу своєї країни.
Your help is very important for us. Stay with Ukraine.
So again, it just means a lot that they try and make this connection. And we always ask for, when possible, to make sure that the accountability photos and videos are group photos. So this way there's less chance for any potential mismanagement, which obviously is less likely when we help directly to people in the army, but anything's possible. We also, and I'm going to show you do a little show and tell in a second, but just to finish this section of videos and photos is you can see on the photograph, just recently sent device on the picture on the bottom left corner, that's a training mannequin. So among the things we send, some we get for free, dropped off at the garage, and some we purchase. So this is an example of what we send that is a purchased item. It's a medical mannequin used by Army medics to train soldiers. So if you get injured, this is how you pack a wound. It has fake blood with it. It has connections, and they literally, you can see when you use it, I've seen videos of training, blood squirts out, and they have to effectively apply a tourniquet to stop this blood. And the soldiers need to learn how to do it on themselves as well as on their friends. So hopefully, and this is one of maybe 10 or 12 we've already sent to Ukraine, hopefully it really helps them to not panic if there is a need for something like that. So I can talk for a very long time, and I have a lot of pictures. But I also, if anyone wants at any point to jump in with questions, of course, I'll answer them as well. And I just want to show some of the things that we purchase and then tell you about how we raise the money. So this is number one most important item. This is called a tourniquet. Tourniquet made in America is certified, meaning that it's near 100% always going to work. This costs $25, not plus shipment, but we buy it wholesale, tax-free. This is the cheapest you can find for the real certified best thing. And this saves a limb when it's applied, because the person will not hemorrhage and hopefully keep the hand or the leg that is wounded. This is what we purchase. Then we purchase medical kits. Again, we purchase them in bulk. We buy 100 at a time. When they are per unit, they're about 70. We buy in bulk for 55. So it's at least some of the savings. Every dollar counts. They're so hard to raise. But medical kits are necessary for new soldiers, and there's new soldiers signing up all the time. They get destroyed or ruined or just become old, so they need to be replaced. We have a lot of requests for these. So these are the two most popular items. Very often we get requests for simple things, $5 on Amazon. I don't buy, and again, I purchase all of these, so I know how much everything costs, but this is even cheaper. I ended up buying 1,000 units in bulk, so they came out to a little less than $3, and it's not a brand name, but it works. All the ingredients are the same as you would have had in liquid capsules of NyQuil and DayQuil. So hopefully that brings some relief, because sometimes even the simplest things are not available. And this I also purchased, and there can be various options. This unfortunately has become number 3, perhaps, item that's requested, burn gel dressings. So sometimes when I don't have enough time, I quite quickly buy on Amazon. And when I do have time and I stock up on them, I buy them on a specialized store for emergency workers, and then they're a little more expensive. And we get simple things dropped off, like first aid gauze. This was given to us by a nicest lady from our dance studio. I take dance classes to distract myself sometimes. And she says, I have 2 bags of supplies. Do you need them? I'm like, yes. So they're in my garage right now and will be sorted by volunteers today. But this is probably the most important thing, slightly larger. And I don't know if you can see, but this is a catheter tray. It's called acute catheter tray. It's packed, and this particular one is not sterile because there is an opening, but quite often they are. Very often these packages are expired, which is okay for military doctors. They're not expired, it's not okay for like kids hospitals or things like that. But these packages are dropped off by now about approximately 5 or 6 nurses or doctors in New Jersey. One of them works in New York area, but drops off when he comes home. And all of that would be discarded, destroyed, and big hospitals incinerated. Now, I know our common friend, John, has started the initiative in West Virginia and had great success collecting these supplies. And that, I think, is one of the most important things of a charity, is that not only raise the money to buy tourniquets, to buy medical kits, but how else can we help just finding new ways of raising help without even spending the money? Because all of that comes to us for free. Most of the time, people drop it off at the garage. Like yesterday, my husband and I were leaving. We see a huge plastic bag by the garage. We didn't have time to bring it in. I said, we'll be back in 2 hours. We'll bring it in. Gotta go. But that is a daily occurrence. Sorting those items, that takes forever. But we have a lot of volunteers. So tonight at 5:30 p.m. Eastern, I have 7 people coming to our house. And there's multiple bags that were dropped off or we picked up from someone that will be sorted and will go to 4 different hospitals. Children's Hospital in Odessa, Military Hospital in Dnipro, this new hospital in Kyiv that we know serves many different people, including wounded soldiers. And the fourth hospital is the maternity ward. So we look at the supplies, we look at what is dropped off, and then either I send a picture to the doctor saying, is this something you need? But perhaps I already know, because in 4 years of sorting this dropped off medical aid and kind of having the reputation, we'll take anything, we'll find home for it. You know, you learn what is sutures that you close the wounds with, what sizes are used for what, which ones are for arteries, which ones are for skin. It's not a comfortable knowledge, but if that makes a difference, if then I can sleep at night, if I can go on with my comfortable New Jersey life, that's the knowledge I'm very happy to acquire. So now a few more photos, just again to perhaps share what nonprofit life is like. this is, you know, I always make difficult decisions. What do you spend money on? Do you spend money on a tourniquet that saves a limb for a soldier? Or do you send $1 or 33 cents, whatever, on a toy that will help a kid, just cheer them up? Because sometimes it's not easy to think about these dollars and cents. Like this young lady's wearing a bracelet that's shining. So during the worst of winter, like you can see this package was sent in January of this year, you know, when there was huge power outages in Ukraine for days and days and days. Infrastructure was hit really badly. I know this because I squeeze out that information from my dad and from my cousin, but also it's in the news. So I was thinking that maybe a few flickering toys might cheer kids up. And as the doctor tells me, who sent these pictures, actually these I received today. This particular package took a long time to get there, as well as he said, we just had big bombings in Odessa and I couldn't send you the pictures sooner. So sometimes it does take a while to get them, but I always do. This lady on our left with black hair, she's the director of this children's hospital. And that's just one of the examples that these diapers that you can see, they're not adult diapers, they're actually teen and smaller kids diapers. So we even sort diapers by size. They're listed and, you know, weight of the person recommended. All of that is done and sorted and sent by our volunteers. And that's just a message from this doctor I received today. This is an example of oops, sorry, I think this is the wrong album. This is an example of the kind of paperwork that we fill out. So this is my humanitarian aid folder. Sorry, I'm going to scroll all the way to the bottom. You've already seen a whole bunch of them. And I just want to share one story. This young man's name is Mark. His call sign, like they have military nicknames, call signs, is Mozart. And we sent them specialized medical kit. This is not a regular medical kit. This is the one for a medic. He's a medic in a special ops group. I'm like, well, kind of nice. I kind of chuckled to myself. Thank you for accounting. Glad he got the help. And then 2 weeks later, I receive a video. Now, this video is, I'm just going to pause for a second. It was recorded yesterday. I received this yesterday. So this is the same medical gentleman. He's playing on this piano in a bombed out house in a small town called Kupiansk in eastern Ukraine. He's playing the Ukrainian hymn. And this is why, no matter how tired I am and what's going on in my teen daughter's life or what I want to do tonight, tomorrow, whatever, this is why we keep going.
Wow, Anastasia, wow, wow, wow. That is so powerful and so moving. I'm so grateful you shared that. And I can see the emotion in your face. I can see how this affects you. And I'm sure this is one of just many experiences you have. And I'm so grateful to you. This is beautiful.
There's no way not to share something like that, right? Because anyway. The emotions are always there. I'm channeling the do something, right? No, it's not enough to just share emotions. So I'm a big believer in what can I do, right? I can get angry. And the reason the charity began is because my husband started cursing. energetic person, very active, and I say what I mean and I don't waste time. I'm like, what can we do yesterday? My husband's very calm. He will never say an extra word. Everybody likes him. And then when the 4.5 years ago, 4.25 years ago, he started cursing. I'm like, oh my God, what's going on? So this is why we started nonprofit work. I needed to make sure both him and me channel our energy, sometimes our anger, even though we've learned how to process it and not let it consume us, into something useful. So this is what brings us to some photographs of what we do. So not only, obviously, we raise money, we organize events. I'm a big believer in keeping Ukraine in hearts and minds. So we just had a charity event at a dance studio, raised $1,800. Oh, this is, sorry, silly stuff, but we pack these big boxes are boxes of diapers. Smaller boxes are boxes of tourniquets and medical kits. So we send these shipments out and organize volunteers. Here's 3 teenagers and 1 mom. And obviously I'm taking the picture. So every week or every 2 weeks, at least, we send out from 6 to 12 boxes. Again, depending on the week, we know what's in each box. We obviously pack them. No one's getting paid, so that all these shipments get to where they need to go. This is more aid getting to, this is Odessa Oncology Clinic. Sorry, I just already know all of the photographs and who's getting what. We also have been very, very lucky that friends who are realizing that we're not giving up are joining our efforts. So sometimes we don't even have to organize events. The money for this shipment came from a festival in Florida. They sent us $1,000. So thank you, Echo Festival. This lady is a friend. She's a singer. She performed almost for free, I have to say. And we raised $4,000, one concert. So it's not easy to organize these concerts, but it's possible. That's my husband, who is, we don't see each other very often because we both work so much, but it's okay. My dog, her name is Dasha. Hardest thing is to get her to pose, but I'm holding a treat. So she's looking right in the camera. And Dasha is wearing a flag that I wear when I take pictures as well, when I pack. This has been signed by the wounded soldiers who were treated by one medic that we've been helping for a while. And she said, I want you to have the flag that has the signatures of a lot of the people you helped. I'm like, oh, bad words. And this is what we've done in February of this year. We had a 4 years of full-scale war concert, and I'll just play a little bit. But this was a nice moment. You can see here that in yellow t-shirt, that's my daughter. In blue t-shirt, that's my husband. A whole bunch of friends. No one got paid who's on the stage. We raised, I can't remember, about $8,000, I think, but it was like thousands and thousands of dollars. We hold charity concerts or events once a month, at least, for 4 years. And that raises approximately $50,000 per year. But what we've done, I think you'll recognize.
But I'm not the only one. I hope someday you'll join us. You'll join us right now on the next verse. And we'll be as one.
So we're trying to bring people together and not just only send medical aid and harp down with horrible news. This lady, Valerie, has been helping, volunteering, packing, making food. We cater all of our charity events. I don't buy anything pre-made. We save money every dollar by making sandwiches ourselves. This is my daughter, Natalie, and she's doing the same for 4 years. She grew up packing aid. This is one of our board members, Dr. Valinsky. And he's trusted to make salo sandwiches because he doesn't eat pork and no one else is. So he's our salo sandwiches guy. And all of the money we raise we spend on shipments, we send aid. This bag of clothes was donated by a lady who works for a fashion company. So I really try to get as much as I can for free. And the guy said, we need some clothes for downtime, for when the soldiers are not on active duty but can't go home. If you got anything, I'm like, working on it. So again, I know this gentleman on the left, he's a commander, Yevgeny Krasny. So when I know and I trust someone, that's the people we help. Body warmers this winter, socks, clothes, that was really important. More medical aid. Whenever we need big boxes, I post on social media. I'm like, this is what I need. And we don't buy anything. All of the big boxes are dropped off for free. We have a little too many right now, still working through them in our garage. One doctor closed his medical practice, brought us, I mean, the garage is normally full, but this was a little ridiculous. I couldn't get to this. One car doesn't park in the garage. The second car, I couldn't get to because there was so much dropped off, like oxygen tanks and this and that, an EKG machine. We found homes for all of them. All of them have just arrived. We raised, I don't even know how many thousands of dollars for body warmers because they were not only used, like this is the stuff that sometimes is hard to hear, but they're not only used on the soldiers who are sitting there in, in the cold field. Body warmers are used to keep wounded during transport, prevent them from hypothermia. So body warmers this winter were incredibly essential. So I can, go on for like a few more hours, but I'll just finish up saying that one of the people that we've been helping for a very long time is someone that you might know, or perhaps have seen a documentary about. Her name is Yulia, call sign Kuba, and her friend Alaska. Her name is Ala Alexandra. So there are two ladies who had absolutely wonderful jobs before the war. Kuba has volunteered in 2014, and then she was always a fashion designer and has been in full-scale war as a senior medic and a trainer. Alaska was finishing up her medical training as a pediatrician. She's a wonderful violinist and a graphic artist. So I had the pleasure of meeting them both. So first we started helping them through a friend, and then I met them in August of 2024 during the war when I went to visit my dad, because I just had to see how he's doing physically, because all I hear, I'm fine, waiting for the war to end. We got this. So I went to see, while I was there, I spent one day in Kharkiv, which scared my husband very much. I didn't tell him I was going. I only told him when I was on the train back to Kyiv. And I met Alaska in Kyiv in a hospital. She was recovering from a very serious wound and on some crazy painkillers. So Alaska, I've visited a few times after that, and Kuba, we only met for about 2 hours, ended up having lunch, and I left. But it's really incredible because the side you have seen in a documentary about these two medics being attacked, going through a very difficult time, and then meeting them in real life, so to speak, in person, you have appreciation for what a crazy thing a war is in general, and how lucky we are to be under the peaceful skies, how lucky I am that I can do something and not just feel helpless and angry. And I invite everyone, if you're feeling helpless or angry, do something about it. I had an incredible young man contact me from Marshall University and say, hey, I've heard you have a nonprofit. I want to organize a charity drive. What do you need? What can we help with? Well, I said, well, I doubt you guys are going to help us with the tourniquets, but I'll take what you got, like toothpaste, toothbrushes. We can send those care packages directly to the medics to distribute to the soldiers. You got toys? We'll send them to the children's hospital. I was just today asking, do you want us to send more toys, or is that a waste of money? And he said, no, this is great. Just small gestures of support mean so much. But I don't mean to send them to a warehouse. They're sitting there for months and months. Let's do it a little bit. Small packages to targeted departments or units. And let's help how we can. It is possible. And then we feel good, they feel good. Maybe peace will come sometime soon. That's what I'm at least hoping for every day. Questions?
Thank
do
you.
have
Thank
a-
you
I-
so
I don't-
much. Yes, Dr.
Quick
Deutsch,
question.
please.
I
Yes.
saw all those boxes. We've heard that shipping containers may be delayed a month or more. How do you ship expeditiously so that your supplies get to the lines where they're supposed to be?
There are
Quickly.
two ways to ship. One is you specify, I want my stuff to be shipped via sea, and it travels on a big ship in huge containers, and that does take 5 to 6 weeks. If you say I'll pay 2.5 times the price, that ship sea route costs 99 cents per pound for us as a charity. I think the full price, if I was only sending like one box to my dad, would be higher. I just don't know what that is. And the shipments to medics with the tourniquets, with the medical kits, we pay $2.49 per pound, and that travels approximately 7 to 10 days. If we're lucky, 6, if we're unlucky, 2 weeks. But that flies to Poland. Then the packages are put on a truck. The truck travels from Poland to Ukrainian border. It goes through, there's a town called Chervonograd. That's where the customs are. It gets approved by customs, and then within 2-3 days, it travels anywhere in Ukraine. So most of our packages go to Eastern Ukraine. And again, if everything's well, 7 to 10 days, the help is there.
Great, thank you.
You're welcome.
Please, more questions? Yes,
Hey,
I see John.
hey, I got on a little late. So great to see you. This is our mascot, Sunflower Seed Jaeger. I'm in a parking lot, my wife, in Richmond, Virginia, which is about 6 hours from home. So I was a little late getting on, but so great to see you. First of all, you held up a package just as I got on and said, this is, what, it was the blue package. What is that? Was that the drapes, or what was that one?
Well, this particular one is a catheter tray, but they come in,
catheter.
yeah, there are many, many different kinds. Sometimes there'll be a surgical kit. Sometimes it
Right.
will be an endoscope of some kind, single use. They can be many, many different ones. And usually we just look at what the word says. And sometimes I know where they go, and sometimes I take a picture and I send, do you need this kind of thing? So it's a lot of work to verify that part. But
Right.
lately,
Right.
more and more is used and needed.
We're on their way to our friends in Athens. There's a group in Athens who's filling 40-foot container shipments that we've hooked up with, and we had 12 boxes worth $29,000 the other day. Are you doing the effort to value what I know you've sent like 100 and some odd shipments. Have you kept record? Are you keeping the value of your shipments?
So good question. And my husband loves this part. So my husband is the money guy. And the short answer is no. The longer answer is that we're not required to record the drop-offs of these kind of materials for financial and tax purposes. There's no way to fully approximate. It's because these things are so expensive. Over 4 years, we're talking about millions. But what does it matter how many hundreds of thousands or millions they are, because it's not enough. We need more.
Yeah.
And at this point, what I realized, what we need more of is proper pace, calm. And I couldn't wait for the war to end so I can stop doing this, to be quite honest, right? Because this is hard. It's physically hard. It's grueling. It is emotionally hard.
Yeah.
Getting these videos and messages, oh my God. But what I realized is that I have to stop feeling guilty going on vacation and come back and do some more. And I also, gave myself props. You're good at organizing, so organize people and let them help you. Blah, 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 blah. So that was the long answer. I don't know how much things cost. I know that we raised, woohoo, $200,000 in dollars. Our second year in existence. So that's a good thing, right? And we are continuing to raise money. Corporate matches are huge. That's our biggest lifeline, is that everything that people spent, for example, on going to a concert, then they usually can double through a corporate company. A lot of companies give certain amount of money for volunteer hours. For example, my husband's old company, he obviously volunteers, and it's real. It's not, made up hours, but he says, the company said, if you volunteer for 20 hours a year, we'll give $500 to the charity of your choice, right? That is $500 just being available out there. So I suggest to everyone who works for a big company, check what are the charity options. And it doesn't have to be, obviously it's Helping Hands for Ukraine. It can be any charity you support. Maybe it's environment, maybe it's women's rights, sunflower seeds, awesome. But there's all these corporate money you can look into, and also suggest to your friends to try to say, are there any other things that your company will contribute? So corporate interests have been helpful to us. But how much do all the diapers cost that are dropped off to us, right? All these surgical kits. We get a lot of medicine and like vials of medicine, which are often expired. However, this is not the kind of expiration that's decreases the value. It's just for the legal reasons in America. So we find a home for all of them. We don't hide any information. They know it's expired, but there are circumstances when that's needed anyway.
Yeah.
So that's the kind of things we do.
Well, we're fortunate. We have a couple of students who are working with us now, and they did do the math. And so we've collected about $117,000 worth of medical supplies. We do track it. And we add that to the cash, so we're over $200,000 ourselves. So we're happy about that. The other question: how much is a tourniquet currently? The cost of a tourniquet?
So when I started buying them, 23. Then it went to 24. Right now it's $25, and the plus shipment. But shipment is cents, so whatever. 25 plus maybe 10 cents, 5 cents per shipment per tourniquet. $25.
Because I had a recently young man who was he's a disabled vet who does ceramic works. He came. We were at a vendor event because we feature the artwork. So he came up and said, "I'll do ceramics for you for nothing." And so he's going to make us Ukraine themed cups, ceramic coffee cups. And so he said, I asked him, I said, how much do these usually go for? He said, well, $40 to $45. I said, well, I can't do that. But I was hoping I'm going to price them based on the cost of a tourniquet and let people know that they're buying a tourniquet for the coffee cup. And we've done, so I do want to get a plug in for the people locally here in our area. You mentioned Cuba and Alaska. We are showing the film April 25th and 26th at Alchemy Theater, near where Norway and Norwood come together, near Crossroads Methodist Church, at 7 o'clock on Saturday, August 25th, and Sunday, August 26th at 2:30. There is a nominal fee of $25 per couple and $15 for individual, and $10. Yeah, there you go. And thank you. And $10 for students. So if you're local, come see this wonderful movie. Have you yet been able to see the movie? Oh
No.
God. Okay.
Honestly,
We're gonna.
it's one of those things where I'm almost scared too of how yet again
Oh,
something
well.
else is going to make me cry. But it's okay. We are purchasing the rights as well, and we're going to do a New Jersey showing. So I'll get
Okay.
to see it soon.
Okay. Well, I was going to say I could probably put it on a jump drive and send it to you, but if you're going to do that,
no, thank you so much.
well,
we'll do it the proper way.
I've seen it 6 times and I've cried every time. So, but it is it's the focus. If you focus is on the relationship, the sisterly relationship between Cuba and Alaska, and then they have this juxtaposition between Cuba and her fashion work, where she was on leave and got to go to Paris, and juxtapose that with Alaska, and you saw her go when she couldn't walk, like she had to relearn how to walk. So it's beautifully done, and you can't. I mean, it's like one of those things. The things that happen in the film you can't make up. So anyway, I've taken up too much time. God bless you. Yeah, John out.
Thank you so much, John. Thank you, Anastasia. Please, more questions and comments. We have more time, please. Anyone? It's very touching, and all of this is pretty much what we see. Absolutely inspiring. Thank you so much. Please, more comments and questions.
I can always share more pictures if you need me to.
Please do. Yeah, if you have,
Well,
please do.
Yeah, just so I know when to finish, where we are time-wise. About 10 more minutes?
Yes, please.
Okay. As I mentioned before, big push this winter, and we try to do this seasonally and in advance so that we can save money on shipping, so we don't have to pay $2.50 per pound. So we try to buy body warmers in like September, October, ship them in advance so they are available there by winter. This gentleman is an American who came, I want to say Washington State or California. I'm sorry, I don't remember right now, but he's signed up as a medic in Ukraine. Right now he's still in Ukraine, but no longer as a medic. He got injured and not in the active duty, but we helped him and his unit with the military kits. This is my wonderful friend, Luba, and she's in the same boat as I am. We're both in the United States. We're all both happily married with 2 kids, and both of my dad and her mom live in Ukraine. So it's a physical necessity to continue to help. What Luba does, she embroiders artwork as on this wall. She embroiders beautiful Christmas toys, wall hangings, anything, any kind of that Ukrainian embroidery, wherever it's valued. She sells them and donates all the money. So last year, she donated over $10,000 just from her needlepoint work alone, and her work was recognized at a local office in Manhattan. And I'm very happy that I got to meet a lot of really great teenagers who need nonprofit hours, right? They need charity hours for their high schools to graduate, but they also come in and help, and it's a joy to do things together. This is what our, I should say, garage normally looks like. So somewhere there's a car buried, but mostly it's boxes. Some of them are empty, some are not, and things are being shipped all the time. This is my daughter. She came from college for, I think, 2 weeks or so. I think it was, this was Thanksgiving break. So she came for Thanksgiving break, and we got some packing done. So this has become a family thing that we do. And this is an example of how the sorting is done. So when we get a big shipment of medical aid from a big hospital, it comes in a jumbled huge box. We have to take everything out, sort by size and by obviously what it is, and it goes to 4 different hospitals. So just from what I see on the screen, on the top right here is an example of a big plastic bag. from which those smaller items are taken out, and then we sort them. Some of them are for oncology. They're actually biopsy. This green handle is a biopsy, huge needle that's put into a body. Some are, the smaller things, iodine, even plasters that wrap an appendage after the surgery's on. There are some smaller items that are, disposable air tubes and things like that. All of that is needed in different places. And this is Anichka and my daughter Lisa sorting. Another video of thing from American medic in Ukraine. Let's take a listen.
To Helping Hands, Anastasia and Natalia, thank you on behalf of our Ukraine. We're currently serving in the Ukrainian National Guard in Eastern Ukraine. Your donations will make a difference as we seek to hold the line for Russia.
So they asked for help to transport the wounded soldiers. So these are kind of stretchers that unfold, and you're able to carry a person out on your own if it's dangerous. This is kind of an awesome project. This one company said, instead of Christmas gifts to our workers this year, we want to donate the money. What do you need? And just recently, prior to that, a children's hospital that we helped in Odessa, the first photos you've seen, said we need a diagnostic tool for the newborns. So in other words, there's a kind of a gastroscope you can put inside a human to see what's going on in the gastro tract. But obviously, the smaller the person, especially newborns, it needs to be absolutely tiny. So these kind of gastroscopes, or an endoscope you can call it, but specifically for the gastro system, they didn't have that tool, and that can help diagnose problems early, treat them early, and it costs used about $2,000 on eBay. I think we paid $2,200. So that's what the company gave us. We got this tool, and I have a picture of it in use, not in use on a patient, but being operational in Odessa in the hospital. So projects like these, all it was $2,000, but how many kids will it help, right? How many doctors will use it to help children? It's really not easy to think about. Oh, this is a great thing. You see on the screen everything that's in the medical kit that I'm holding. So inside this medical kit that costs $55, I usually send a picture to the new medics that we help, saying, I can sell you those. There is an American certified tourniquet. These are trauma shears, types of scissors to cut off bloody clothes after someone's wounded. Something to stabilize an arm or a leg if there is a cast needed, but none are available. And just smaller items like a compression bandage or, plastic gloves. Space blanket is just a mylar silver blanket that keeps you warm, keeps your heat inside. There's all these dressings. This is not enough. Usually more is added to a military medical kit, but this is a great start. We also add burn gels and other things to it, like an eye protector and so on. Sometimes charity work is about impossible dreams. You need to have a lot of guts to start doing charity, because you'd have no idea what's going to happen. So in November of last year, I said, we're going to try to raise $10,000. That is a lot of money. And that was a lot of work, but somehow right now on the page, you see 93% funded, but with the help of many kind people, strangers, friends, people who trust us, we were able to ultimately raise those $10,000. And that's 100 medical kits, that's 200 tourniquets. That is a lot of help and a lot of, and a lot of help that's getting to Ukraine. And here you see the guy in gray, he's the head of the maternity ward, right? So there's a children's hospital in Odessa we help, but we also help a maternity ward with a young doctor. And we don't send them any equipment. We only send things that are given to us for free. More volunteers, more sandwiches. So our charity events, we always like to feed people well because we are from Ukraine. All of these kids were born in the United States, but their parents are Ukrainian American, similar to me, have been in the States for a while. And they don't come every single time, but they come often. This lady is the wife of our sound man who works for free, helps with sound on all this concerts. Lynn is an American mom, but I think she might have Ukrainian roots. She makes amazing sandwiches. Anichka, also one of my friends. And this is an example. This is, if you recall, I showed you all these supplies lying on the big table as we're sorting them. Well, this is called stabilization unit, stabilization point. It's halfway point between the military field and a hospital. This is where soldiers are taken from the active field of fighting to be stabilized so they can be transported to a big hospital, maybe a couple of hours away. And these stabilization points are like makeshift field hospitals. They need a lot of first aid supplies like iodine, like alcohol wipes, things like that. I mean, I'm simplifying, but what you can see on the page is two boxes of various types of bandages and wrappings and gauze, and all of that is making these doctors pretty happy. And you can see how they work. I don't know what structure this is. It could be a garage that's remodeled or a house. They work a lot in bumped out houses that they reuse for various purposes. And this is what catering for a charity event looks like. This will be my last picture. I buy approximately 4 to 5 packages of cucumbers, tomatoes, party trays of cheese, cantaloupe. Sometimes when things are organic and on sale, I'll grab that. But this is what you do. This you can spend $100 on and feed 60 people. I know how to do that. Now, do I want to cater events like that? No, I don't. But that allows me to save at least $300-400 once a month. That's a lot of money. So there you go. We've learned how to do a lot with a little. So thank you so much for having me over, for sharing what we do, because sometimes it's nice to be heard, right? And all this work to be presented. So thank you very much.
Oh my
Well,
goodness.
thank you.
This is
Well, thank
beautiful.
you.
And I think we've got you basically are the template, or like if more people did this, the world would be a better place, not just in war times, but in general. When everybody picks to work locally with people they know and trust to affect a good outcome in an area. I think this is truly. This is amazing. I want to just a shout out to Pastor John Yeager, who was just talking to you. His sunflower seeds for Ukraine, very similar approach, very targeted assist approach. There's a group in Philadelphia that helps the city of Ternopil. And so and these are, I don't know of others, but what you've done is created the gold standard for how to do this, financially, how to do this well, how to do this with love, how to do this wisely. And it truly, when all this horror is over and we look back on this time, I think some beautiful stories will emerge about exactly what you're doing. This is heroic, and this is kindness, and this is love. And for those people, for that girl receiving a bracelet, the other girl's holding a stuffed animal, that is at least a full minute of distraction from the sadness of their lives, a time for the brain to take a break and not be sorrowful, not be grieving, and rejoice in something light, something fun. That is so restorative, that I love that you do that, as well as the things that save limbs, that save lives. I'm a little bit at a loss for words, but you are ministering to the wide spectrum of human needs, and I'm very grateful.
Thank you. Overwhelmingly kind of you. Thank you.
Thank you, Anastasia, and thank everyone
Can
who's
I get
involved.
one?
This is
Can I get one question in, Victor? I'm sorry. real
Sure,
quick.
sure,
Uh,
please.
Thanks to the efforts of Marshall University, we have these two interns. Anastasia, one of the things that we're doing is a how-to manual for doing exactly what we're doing, what you're doing, what Sunflower Seeds is doing. So we'll share that with you when we get it done. Also, I need to have a conversation with you sometime about your corporate giving or your corporate donation approach. We need some help in that direction. We have not really even scratched the surface as much as we should. So I'll be talking to you about that in the future. Thank you. God bless you, and Slava Ukraini.
Героям слава.
Героям слава.
Героям слава. Thank you so much. Katerina, please say a few words.
Дорогі
Ukrainian.
браття і сестри в Україні, ми зберігаємо вас в наших щоденних думках і молитвах. Нехай милосердний Бог тримає вас у своїй опіці. До наступного тижня. Прощаємося.
Слава Україні.
Героям слава!
До побачення, дякую. Thank you.
Дякую.